Okay, hi everyone. Very welcome to our YaPdm 2014 news webinar. It's not only going to be a PDM. It's going to be just like you saw in the invitation. It's going to be some of the reasons to use our quick package for SpaceClaim, which is also available for SolidWorks. Functionality and reasons to use this package without actually looking for a full PDM solution. But also some of the news in the full solution. And third thing we'll show within these approximately 30 minutes our very own product, SpaceClaim Toolbox, which is from the Swedish SpaceClaim reseller SC Scandinavia. This one you can use with or without Yap. It's completely independent of Yap. Benefit of using Yap with it is to have a place to store all the standard component that we have generated. That will be a third thing that we will show today. So this package that we have created, it's been around almost all of the year, but we have put quite a lot of effort into it just to make it easier to get going, to install it almost yourself and get trained. We're working on some more tutorials so that you can almost do the training yourself. We do usually tops 1 day of training for it, sometimes just half a day. So it's actually a full YaPdm license. And the only difference is that we with permissions we scale it down so that you just don't see everything. It's included, you're able to use it, able to develop the full solution. The point is that for all SpaceClaim users that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seats, just looking for some specific things that we'll go through on the next slide, and not for a PDM solution, and therefore also the name is not PDM, it's YapIt for SpaceClaim. All the other tools and toolboxes like report generator, office integrations, workflows, etc. It's all included there, and it's actually even easier to get there because it's the database is all prepared with all the stuff, so it should be easy to customize and get started just in a day or two, maybe 3. So what we do it with is simply permissions. So just log on as a different user. You see less things just to make the user interface easier. So it's available for SpaceClaim, of course. There's also exactly the same package for SolidWorks, and there's no reason why you can't use both. It's just different views. So some of the things I'll go through here and show some of them quickly as well. Externalizing all, just show that working with our toolbox, of course, which would be shown here today as well. Manufacturing, if you use SpaceClaim for manufacturing, do you want to generate step files or IDs files, parasol files, whatever, you can do that, of course, automatically with the DB converter XC, but with this package you can just in 2 clicks automatically get them generated, export it to a folder and rename that. I'll show that. Of course, any other function like drawing updates that needs a centralized library for information about what's happened with the components and geometries and approvals of drawings, etc. if you use drawings. Materials is something new. We do have a material database in SpaceClaim. XML file you might use with use it yourself and update it, but the problem is how to distribute it. Every SpaceClaim seat has got one XML file. What we do is that we actually check out the XML file, use the SpaceClaim interface, and then that on release it's distributed to all the other clients. So everyone's using the same material database one person, one role is controlling it. Next one, number 5, is quite interesting. How to make a complete design copy. I'll show that. It's quite powerful. Generating new ideas for full structure. If for tooling, for example, you just want to make a similar tool for another customer, another product. If you use live review, using YaPdm does not have any impact on that. You can just open any model, any data on the right permissions from Yap, use live review straight from it. Live review doesn't move any files anywhere or any references, so it's all compatible with Yap and this quick package as well. Very easy to export files, and of course, simply if you just wanna give your components IDs and just simple revision management, so you get it all in one place, so you don't have to look for the files or lose the files when you pass it over to someone else, so you don't have to see that again. So take a look at some of those things. For the full solution, the YaPdm solution, there's been a lot of things going on, and just mention some of them. There is a translation tool, since there are no customers in other areas, like in China. It's simplified Chinese in this case. We've done quite a lot of work just due to that fact as well, that people are using it remotely for performance. We've spent quite a lot of effort on speeding up the file copying and also the database communication. Print the PDF book, I'll show that later on what that is. Material database we already went through. If you, in File Explorer, for example, right-click and select permissions, security permissions for files in File Explorer, we've done something similar. So it's easier for a user or reseller to actually go into an object, document, whether it's CAD or something else, and say who, what role, what group, what user can actually see this document. So you can control that straight from the interface. There's a free text search as well. We can search for stuff that you actually see in the tree, not just in the database, which of course has been there since the very beginning. As a classification tool, all of these are built in to the core license. So, for example, for standard components like bolts, if you want to generate a structure with bolts, M8, M6, length, etc., etc., to control those numbers, we have nomenclature module built into YaPdm. For any user using SmartTeam, it's common in our area, wanting to use and combine these two, or actually move from SmartTeam to YaPdm. We've developed a very powerful bridge between the two of them. So what we can do is actually from the YaPdm interface just look into a database, a SmartTeam database, without any SmartTeam or SmartTeam licenses. And present that data in YaPdm. So in YaPdm you see everything that's created in Yap, but also everything historically created in SmartTeam. And you can view this data via the Windows interface, via the web interface, and actually you can drag and drop in between. So you can drag a project from a SmartTeam system to a YaPdm system. It's very powerful stuff if you want to go that way. So the toolbox we'll get back to later on. Just a picture of that to give you an idea of what it is that we're doing. We're generating bolts and washers and nuts, some other components, and there's much more to come. And I'm going to show the latest revision of this toolbox today. I actually received it just 1 hour ago. So let's take a look at some of the stuff. Just going to start off. Well, we did start with the YapIt package, stuff that you actually use the package for. You don't need to use the full thing. You don't need to put projects and items and documents, etc. You can use it for simple purposes. For example, if you have an assembly in SpaceClaim, you're all aware of the internal, external components, and that you can internalize it all in a snatch just like that. You can also make stuff external, but by simply multi-select. But there is no way to actually externalize all if you want to do that. So just things like that were added as features for SpaceClaim users. So once you actually just save it into YaPdm, we've pre-selected a workspace where to put it. All the data is already in there. We have on the right click added some nice new features. You can of course open the document straight from here, but you can also externalize. You can do it on one component, the subtree, or the full thing. So I don't even have to save it into Yap now. I could just use that function for externalizing all my files. I'm just going to put it into Yap anyway, because it's just one click to save the whole thing and get IDs and item numbers and all of that properly done. So they're in my work, of course, as usual, but also all of them externalized, and we could do that in one snatch. Just a few components here, but it could be hundreds of thousands, and it could be quite painful to do that in SpaceClaim. So for manufacturing, I mentioned if you want to generate step files, for example, what we do, I just save this one in one click, and what we do in another click when we check it in, just simply set it up to what you want to generate, and we can generate all the file types that you have underneath the save as. So if you want step files, IDs, parasolids, if you just want some of them, because you can just put a checkbox here and say I want this one for manufacturing, they are automatically generated and put into the vault with proper names. Proper names to the system, not proper names to the manufacturer. What we do for the manufacturer is just simply to export these files now. So this is just one reason why you can use the package just for that specific purpose. And so export the files to a folder. I say what file type do you want? Well, I want step files, and that's it. This specific structure, these specific revisions. There's only one revision there now. But also we rename the files, and you can set a rule up yourself. You can say how do you want them renamed. So ID, description, revision, unique file names, easy to send for manufacturing. So let's just open that one up again, and at the next point. Of course, stuff like I mentioned, if you generate a drawing, and this one I just open up, read only, the data is already there, because as you know, it's the same file, we don't need to do anything with it. So everything from centralized, one simple centralized database. Complex behind, easy user interface. Materials. So what we do is, I think I explained it. You actually use this interface to manage the materials. So what we do is, for one user, one role, when you log on as an administrator, just do it for you. Underneath templates, and we've done this before with the drawing sheets, for example. We now also do it with the XML file, which is the material database. So checked out, it ends up in my working folder. I can change it, and I do it from here, just pure SpaceClaim functionality. Then once I'm done, added the materials that I want, I just release it, and it will be distributed to a folder where the other SpaceClaim users can benefit from it, so that we know that everyone using the same material database. A copy of a complete design, that's something I like to show as well. For example, we have 3 revisions of this this handlebar. It's a handlebar for a bike, I think. So it's just a few components, nothing complex. But if I want to make a copy of it, and I create save as for each and every component, and make sure that I don't get anything mixed up or any references mixed up, it's quite hard, and you need to be very much in control. What I can do from here, just simply to say, I want to make a copy, not a new revision of what? Of something, just a few components, or reuse some of them, or I can multi-select here and say I want new copies of all of these, which means new numbers for all of them, completely independent of this design. Let's just do that and see what it looks like. So these have numbers from 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we got completely new numbers here. And when I open it up, this will be my complete copy of the design. Ready to work with, will not interfere, will not affect the other one whatsoever. For tooling, for other purposes as well, of course, when you want to make a copy of the design. I'm just going to delete those since I'm not going to use them for now. Okay, there was some of the reasons for the YapIt package. So just going to have a few more things for a full solution as well, for the interface. And some of the things we added is a nice view of the workspaces. You can add and remove workspaces as you prefer. You can switch which one is active whenever you want, and all of this is immediately updated in this little view. And the view is straight, of course, takes you into your projects or items or folders where it is. So you can just set it up. You don't even need to show this tree. You can just have your little simple view of your products and benefit from one of the issues that we've talked about before. Also, we have always had the possibility to search for all types of data, like any PDM solution, larger than dates, etc., advanced searches. But we've also provided a search for searching in the tree. So I have 3 different revisions of this handlebar: 0, 1, and 2. And whatever I prefer, I can go in here and say I want to search in the tree, meaning that I'm actually searching for data in this specific tree, what I see here right now. I can select what fields I'm searching for. I've defined, I think, just description in this case. So just by doing that, it will present revision 1 of these components. Could be huge assembly, doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want with my result, copy data into Excel, as always. So that's also something new. Let's show also we're adding stuff here. If you use it, for example, languages, it depends on which package you have, what language is translated to. They will appear here and will switch the menus like any other application automatically. So print workbook is also something I would like to show. If you take a look at this design, there's 3 different revisions. Can't see much of a difference here. One I've generated step files, so we showed how easy it was to export that. You can also see that the material, mass, etc. is automatically updated if you prefer to use it. If I want to take a look at what this handlebar looked like before, I can see all revisions here. I can always use my filter to say latest approved. That's what I want to see. But as you might have seen before, might have heard of, you can also say I want to see latest, but also latest approved at a certain date. And now this becomes quite useful in many cases. Like say 22nd of March, what the latest components released at the time. And that's it. This is exactly what we had. There was nothing frozen that date. We can just go back and see what actually happened in SpaceClaim at the time. And now of course I can take these files just like before, export them. If I want to export SpaceClaim files, just do that. You see that they are renamed just like the step files before to proper names. So the question is, what happens if you send this folder to someone else? Well, of course it was quick, but we already changed all the references. So we're opening these exact files from that revision that I just picked if you want to send it to supplier, customer, for spare parts, whoever is asking for it. Then back to something quite new. You see that automatically generated PDFs in this case. Just a setting, what you want to do. I still have the view of what was approved on the 22nd of March. And I say I want to generate a PDF from that. I want to generate one PDF from that. It could be, it doesn't have to be 3D models or 2D models. It could be generating a manual for manufacturing, for example. So what I do is that I use the same tool, export files, but I have something here called make a book. So for these exact revisions of these components, we collect the PDFs, provide a list so that you can change the order if you want. I just put this one here, you can delete one, move them up and down. Once you're ready, you say this is what I want to generate as one single PDF. So one PDF we have in a snatch with all drawings, components, whatever we actually did generate. If I print this one, another benefit, if it's like a complete order, for example, it will be it's one file. It's one file sent to the printer, so that will be in a complete pack without any other one interfering in the printer queue. So the last 5-6 minutes here, I would like to go to Toolbox to show what that is. So in SpaceClaim, I'm going to open a sample file. Just going to remove that. I have an oil pan here. I have a few holes, and I need some bolts for it. I might have it. If I use Yap or if I look it up on some other component library. If you have your own component library, but what we have here is an add-in, and it's completely integrated in the interface of SpaceClaim. So I can, like any other view, can just tag it there, and I think if I remove the team viewer window, I can also say that I want to pin it to hide automatically. So it's right there for me to use whenever I need it. And it's a component library of standard components. So far we have bolts, nuts, and washers of different kinds. There will be more added. We can select materials, sizes, etc. And it's designed from a database. I think it's XML based. Need to check that. So what I do is, instead of finding a standard component in another library, I simply select where I want to put it. So I select my edge, Alt, and a surface. So defining what size and what places on this surface I want to put this component. Now I have my selection. For example, M5, what length, what material. I'm not going to put any nuts in this case. I just leave it like that. I think that size is okay. So what I just press is insert, and these components were generated just like that. For all the positions, and you can see that we generate bolts, washers. They're locked, so we cannot make changes to them, of course, unless we unlock. Then it's something we decide to do. But you can, of course, drag and drop because they're not locked in position. They're just locked geometry-wise. So just like that, I generated a washer and a bolt for all of these places on this oil pan. I'm going to show you a couple of more examples. Here I have something else, a different component. I want to place a few bolts in that one as well. I think pretty much the same size. But just to show you, if I just select the edge, then the surface, and then I press Control as well to select another surface. So I have 3 of them, but just to show you, it's also sensitive to what surface it is. It's actually putting the component from. So I'll just put 3 bolts as well from the other side. So let's go into my toolbox. I think I can use the same size actually, and just be happy with that. So as you see, we generate the bolts from the surface that we actually selected. So that could be different. It doesn't have to be just one surface. I can leave it open. I just want to finish off. We have another 1 or 2 minutes with my sample number 3 when it comes to the toolbox. Which is a flange. I think this one requires a little bit bigger stuff. So what I do is again just select the edge, Alt, and surface. So just same as the first sample and second example actually. But what we can do is to make it feel what size is it, and what area, of course, just like the surface. But also, if I want to generate, for example, nut size washer and bolt size washer as well, we can do that, all of that in a snatch. You don't need to generate one. You can do it in just one go, and that could be saving quite a lot of time if you do it, as you understand, with many components. So that just took basically a few clicks to do that. There will be separate demos of the toolbox coming up soon. It's released in days, in just a few days, and there will be shortly new versions as well, as we put in new components there. So what we would do with this one is, if you use it with Yaplt, is basically to check up in Yaplt, is there a bolt with that specific size? Then we use that item number. Otherwise, we generate a new one. And of course, you can automatically generate step files, parasolids, etc. for these to use if you need other formats, just like any other type of document in YaPdm.